This year, more than any other, it has struck me how similar this Easter has been for us to that of the first disciples. That first Easter was not a time of trumpets and lilies, of Easter hats and unrestrained alleluias. That first Easter, in fact, was a time of fear and confusion and doubt and disbelief. And this year we've joined their company. We stumbled in the garden with Mary, who wept because she thought they had taken the body of her friend away. The next week we were with Thomas, who just couldn't believe the stories his friends were telling him about Jesus coming to them. No, not unless I can see him with my own eyes, touch him with my own hands. And then on the third Sunday of this Easter season, we read Luke's account about the women going to the tomb only to find a couple of men in dazzling clothes who reminded the women of all that Jesus had taught them. They rushed back to tell the others, but they couldn't believe the women because their words seemed to them like an idle tale. Today, on the fifth Sunday of Easter, we're back with the disciples in the upper room. Jesus has just told them at the end of John 13, "I am with you only a little while longer, and where I'm going, you cannot come, not right now." They're stunned. They are wrapped in fear. Their anxiety goes through the roof. Now what? What does the future hold for us? What will we do now? Will life ever be the same again? Those questions sound familiar to us in this time of COVID-19. Now what? What does the future hold? What are we going to do? Will life ever be normal again? And the hard thing is that there are no answers to those questions, no answer which will satisfy them. And so in John 14, Jesus doesn't try to answer those questions either. All he says is, don't let your hearts be troubled. I like the way Eugene Peterson translates it in The Message. Don't let this throw you. You trust God, don't you? Then trust me also. There is plenty of room in my Father's house. And that's the thing, in tough times like this, all we can do is trust. And we build trust by remembering. We remember God who has been there with us and for us. We remember the times in our lives before when we were comforted. We remember when we were held and encouraged. We remember we do this at this altar in remembrance. And we trust. And as we remember, we know that there is room for us in God's heart. That God is generous and hospitable. That God holds us, that we have a place in the heart of God. Jesus says, don't let this throw you. Trust God. Trust me. Just keep seeking my way. Just keep listening for my truth. Just keep journeying with me, and I will live in you, and you will live in me, and you will receive the gift of abundant life. And as Jesus says to Thomas, so Jesus says to us, you know the way. Keep walking with me. Keep trusting. Keep remembering, because God walks with us. Thanks be to God.